right. So I'd line that up. Line that up right there. Take this measurement. Get over that. Of course, it's gonna be all tight. So, if you ever learned in school, you could start at a different number. That way, fighting with this heater. All right. So 5 to 8. 5 to 8 is 3 inches. So what I would like to do, get my tape back out. 5 to 8 is 3 inches. Front of my board. Front of my board. And mark 3 inches. From there, I want a straight edge. Just to get from my 3-inch mark, which is right there, to the corner of that board. And draw that line. Got our first cut. Alright, so I want to start with a full, then a 2/3. 2/3 full. 2/3, 48. It's 2 feet. 1 2/3 of 48 is 32. Actually, let's go this way. So 32. Because we want this edge so we could click in our next board. I think that'll be our angle all the way up. So we'll make another 3-inch mark on our next plank. That will be 3 inches from there. See what I'm doing. There you go. So our 32 mark, which is 2/3 up. Then I went 3 inches over for our angle. And make that mark. Alright, we'll get one more plank. And this is all for our starter row. So we got a full board, a board that's 2/3 long, and then we're gonna go 1/3 here. And that'll be our first 3 planks. We wanna try to get a random pattern. I prefer random pattern. All right, so 1/3 would be 16, all right? So on that 16 mark. Inches over, and we'll connect your 3 inches from the end of the board that will go against the angle. So you mark 3 inches over, get a straight edge, and then this bottom number be 16, which is 1/3 board for our first 3 rows. Alright, so there's our first cut, our second cut, and then our third cut. That'll start our first 3 rows. Alright, we are at our cutting station. We have our circular saw. Have our mark. Just line that 0 line to your line, and then just go for it. Made my cut. Now I want to go just verify that it's going to fit my angle. And that fits pretty well. I don't know if you can see, but let's push it that way, this way, and look at that. That's not too bad. I think really if we straightened it up, I'd lose that gap. But you can only straighten it up after a couple of them. So I just want to verify this angle, which works. We measured 3 inches over and then cut to the other side. So let's get these other 2 cuts. All right, so we got our first 3 cuts cut. Now what do? Alright, we got this angle that we had to cut. And then we cut them different lengths. 1/3, 2/3, and a full. Okay? These should be interchangeable because this is the same angle. So let's test it. All right, that fits. So what I like to do, my first 3 rows, we'll start off with a small one. Let's see how that works. Alright, so I grabbed some random full ones, added a different box. That way, you know, in case the patterns are different, it'd be nice to have a nice different pattern. Alright, so get a little closer. Alright, so how to install these planks. This is a tongue. This is the groove. We'll stick this tongue inside of our groove. Lift it at an angle I find best. Line it up. And just lay it down. Sometimes you need a little love tap. Alright. We'll tighten these up once we get it together so it's not shifting back and forth. Alright, so right now we have 2 blanks. 1, 2. Let's get a piece of our second row. Let's do a big full. So let's get our full. Again, we want our tongue here to slide in the groove of this plank. So this tongue into this groove, lift it at an angle, and then just place it in there. Alright. Like I said, we'll do all our tightening up in a second. So our next one, so I went 1/3 full, 2/3. That way we got a nice random pattern, which I enjoy looking at. Okay. So this is what this looks like. Here's my scrap piece. It's got the tongue, it's got the groove. And what I like to do is stick this tongue inside the next groove. Let's get it against that wall and use that. Tighten up these joints. Like I said, the first 3 rows is critical. So again, I want to use this to try to tighten up. Alright. So I don't know if you guys remember, but there was this was gapped. But now it's not, which is what we're looking for. So let's lock these in. Want to make sure the seams are flat. So you don't want no tugging. That'll help ensure that your floor will last a long time. Get this gunk out of here. This gunk out of here. All right, so we're gonna keep working that way. And then I haven't even pushed it all the way to that heater. Because I want my first 3 rows to line up straight. That way they can flow properly. So again, lift it up. Put your tongue in that groove. And slightly press down. And that joint took me no effort. Okay, let's go to our next row right here. And this type of floor already comes with the underlayment. This black stuff, that's your underlayment, so we skipped the step because we got a better quality product. So same thing here. What I like to do is start in that corner, lift this one, right, and then push down on this edge. This is one of the trickier pieces to put in. You can't necessarily get it locked in perfect until you got your first 3 rows. Good. Still want to be careful to not damage it. So you'll see this. We'll get that fixed after we get this one in. Remember, our tongue and our tongue want to fit in 2 grooves, long ways and into the previous plank. So pushed it into this corner. You know, we get a good start. Put that in there. Get that side. Alright, so now we gotta tap everything together before we go any further. And this is how we'll do it. We'll use our scrap piece. You don't want to damage any of the tongues or any of the grooves. Get another scrap piece. So I don't mess up my tapping block, I cut one with the groove nothing else. And then I cut one with the tongue. That way I'm not flipping around and breaking it. You know, this one I could tap that. This one I could tap there. So we'll do this. Put this tongue inside that groove. First 3 rows are crucial in how your floor is gonna set. So just take the time to get it right now. That way you're not disappointed towards the end. So we're gonna come up here with the groove side. Just make sure everything is locked in. Now let's make sure we're locked in this way. So push it towards the wall, right there. We're gonna need the one with the tongue because the groove end is right here. Start up here. Make sure the seams feel good. All right, we'll do this one. This one I think needs kept down. There we go. Smooth. All right. Let's see how this one feels. This one needs a little help. Tap it down. Tap it this way. Okay, we're going to continue. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 pieces. That first one's probably a cut. So how I would make my cut. Let's put the floor where it needs to be. Which is over there. Alright, so the trick to not using a measuring tape should save you 5 to 10 minutes. Alright, so the board that you just finished laying has a grooved end that the tongue should slide in, right? Grab your tongue side, place it against this wall, wherever you're gonna make your cut. Against that wall. And this is your tongue side. See, your plank that you want to do has a groove, so put your tongue on there. And you need just enough space. So this plus a hair, all right, equals that. So let's try it with the measuring tape. put your measuring tape all the way over there to this wall. You have to the edge of this is 27 3/8. So 27 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, or 27 1 2 3 4 5 6/16. All right, so 27 3/8 minus 1/8 would be 27 1/8. Let's see if that's what our mark says. 27 3/16, which is close. You know, we just gotta ensure we're getting a nice gap here for expansion, contraction. All right, so let's get this one cut. And we made our mark there. Without the measuring tape, with the measuring tape. Here is one of my handyman hacks. Made our mark. This is our line. Show you a trick to make sure you get a straight, smooth line. Put this against the flat edge, and then you run your saw right along it. Let me show you. Line your circular saw up to the line that you want to cut, and then what you do is run this line against it. That should give you a nice straight cut. When it dropped. But you see that? Straight. Straight. Just a little trick. Alright, so this scrap piece that we just cut could be for our next piece. Then we'll take our other piece and click lock in here. Okay, we'll get our tongue. Let's bring our floor back out just a hair. So we can do what we need to do. Lift it at a slight angle, as much as you want. Okay. A little debris. Make sure you get your debris out. Let's just get this second cut over here. The way we can lock our first 3 rows and then push it back. So we're gonna space our gap evenly between those 2 sides, okay? How to not measure every single cut. Grab your tongue end, put it all the way against that wall. Make your mark just a hair hair past the edge of this. About right there. I'll take that and make a cut. Alright, got one more small piece. Then we'll start locking everything in. And we should be okay. Start going. It's just these first three are really important. Let me go cut this. Please be on the lookout or listening for any squeaks while you're down this low. That way, you know, you don't have a squeaky floor by the end. Alright, so what I gotta do now is try to lock all this stuff together. I'm pulling it back away from the wall because I wouldn't get an accurate measurement on this side if I kept it like this and then did a measurement. So that's why I did that. So I'll start by locking this. Put a little pressure. Any pressure on this board while you're hitting this one above it. You want to see no black in the seams. They have to look flawless. And I'll show you what I mean. Okay. So that's your seam. Grab your block. And if it's not going in through this way, lift it up just a bit. locked in. If not, you gotta come this way. Come this way. Just continue. Got it all snapped in. You don't want any of your seams to be popped out. So, nice clean edges. Okay. Now that we got our first 3 rows locked in, cut, measured, we're gonna slide it into place. Okay. And just to be super square, we're gonna go and grab this measurement off the edge of that wall. And this is just to see if we're squared up. We got 113 7/8. And let's check right here. Got 114. So if we move this side up a hair or move that side up a hair, we're pretty much square. So what I'm gonna do is see if we can push that. I want to push this flush. And now let's get a measurement. Okay, now we're at 115 on this side. I pushed it all the way under against that wall. So 115, see what we got here. Even though it's a floating floor, I want, that cut not to taper. Is why. Okay. So we gotta push this. This is 114. Right there is 115. We'll double check again. And after we're done checking, I want to put a few of those boxes on there. That way it'll stay. And I don't have to keep measuring back and forth if I'm right or not. $14.78. bring this out, snip it. Right there should be good. Now I want to put some of this flooring on top. Just for some weight. Now I'm gonna start hitting it towards that wall. Still seems like I hear creaking. Over here is good. I just think where the floor was laying right here. So now that your first 3 rows are laid in, you're cooking. What you want to do is continue how you did it. Remember the 3 inches over to make your angle. Edge to edge. Cut down there. So I'm going to sweep this up and get the middle of the room done.